but the earned income. How's been your experience in the software industry? We've had a lot of questions from preparers because preparers thought maybe you just use the prior year credit, but you can't. You have to just change that calculation. How's it in the offices, Carlos?
Yeah, it's well, it works out pretty good. We have a lot of returning clients. Excuse me. So it works out well for us when we put in last year's earned income because we have the records right in front of us. But if you're going somewhere new or if you're trying to do it yourself, yeah, you're going to have some challenges trying to figure that out. And yeah, I was helping one of our employees just the other day with that. And he got like $23,000 of unemployment and only $15,000 of W-2 wages. And his earned income tax credit, his refund was about $8,000. We typed in 2019 total figure, and he got back an extra $1,900, almost 10 grand back by using the prior year AGI. So it worked out pretty good. My experience so far has been, I'm glad that their IRS is doing that. I'm not sure what it's going to cost us in the long run. I know all this stuff is so expensive and we just don't understand, you know, how expensive all these stimulus payments are and everything else. But, you know, you got to live for the moment, I guess. Let's do the best we can, right?
YOLO, huh, Carlos? Did you, wait, so your software doesn't automatically carry the prior year information to this year?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, okay. You said you keyed it in, so I was like, wait a minute.
Well, you key in an X on the box.
See, our software is highly advanced, and so it does all the calculations. It looks at the non-taxable combat pay, looks like the Medicaid waiver payments. It looks at the now prior year earned income and does all the calculations, puts a little message on the screen, says, hey, we found you an extra $2,000 of the earned income tax credit by using the prior year earned income.
Well, you do have a very advanced and a very sophisticated online system, Timur. So
thanks, Carlos.
That's to be expected.
Right? So any questions coming in, Vincente, from the world?
Not yet, Timur, but I do want to take time and glad that you brought that up, Timur, to invite everybody watching on Facebook, because we are streaming on Facebook, or if you're joining us here through Zoom, submit your questions. We have two of the tax experts here, whether it's software or tax education. Would definitely let us know either in the comments or submit your questions. But yeah, with that said, and kind of circling back around to the earned income credit, you know, more or less, Timur, when do you think the EIC refunds are going to be hitting the streets, bank accounts, checks, more or less? Would you happen to have an idea on that? What have you heard?
So I've heard that the initial batch of refunds is out, and that's because some folks over at TPG and Republic and EPS have told me that they started processing some of those refunds. But normally, I think what they call it Big Refund Day, BRD or something, or Big Funding Day, BFD, is February 15th, right? Because that's when all those PATH Act refunds come out. But this year, they just started processing returns on the 12th. So they didn't have time to get all those returns through. Plus, you know, we don't know how many returns actually are there. So the thing is, those are going to come a lot slower. So there's no big funding day like we used to have on the 15th. It's going to kind of trickle out over the next couple of weeks, I think. But that's what our bank partners are telling us.
Hey, Timur, thanks for clarifying BFD. I thought it was something else. and this is a family show, so you know.
Yeah, Big Funding Day.
Oh, Big Funding Day. Okay. Yeah. Well, we have a guest in the studio today. We have Mr. Josue Rojas, enrolled agent and district manager. Want to say
Hey,
hi.
hey, Timur. How's it
Hey,
going?
Jose, let's see you.
Good to see you.
So we're talking about how the Recovery Act is treating everyone. You know, when you use last year's income for EITC funding. How's it been in your office, Josue?
I've noticed that when people do it on TurboTax, they don't do it. But when they come to our office and they bring in last year's and this year's, we have to add it in there. It shows up. So I don't know if, and they've been doing it for TurboTax for years, but they're missing out on that extra credit. So we've been promoting that one, and they've been coming in on that.
You know, my dad, I think, you know, Carlos did taxes from the 1960s on. And so I kind of like was born into this business literally. But he always said when you are doing people's taxes, bring in the prior year returns, because when they did it themselves, or when they, you know, maybe went to a preparer that didn't have as good of education as you guys put out through Latino Tax Pro, you know, there's things that you can miss. And the best thing you can do is take 3 years of tax returns and turn them into 4 years of refunds. You know, I mean, that's a way to win a customer for life.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing. They've been actually bringing back a couple years. But yeah, it's been crazy. Also, I had some clients that just had unemployment, at least 27,000, and then they didn't work the whole year. So what happened was we ended up using the earned income that they used last year, and it helped them out. So it helped out benefits for those people that all they had with income was unemployment for that year, and then we just used their earned income from the previous year. So it helped
Looks like
out
we've
on
got a
other
few
ones.
folks on the Zoom here. Do you guys have any thoughts or questions for us too? Or in Facebook, you can post one to Facebook. I think you can chat stuff to us here on the Zoom.
Yeah, we actually have a question on Facebook from Eric. One of the questions, or I guess they want more of an opinion, is what's your opinion on RRC claimed for dependents, the dependents to get EIP again? What are the, so basically, was it what's your opinion on RRC claimed for dependents who were claimed on 2019 and received the EIP, or to get the EIP again?
Well, I don't know if you can get it again, but you can get it the first time, and you can get it for EIP 1 or EIP 2. And by the way, EIP means the economic injury payment or stimulus. So forgive us if we start using tax prepared jargon, but so that in our minds, EIP 1 is last year's, EIP 2 is this year's. So always get the maximum refund. If it's out there, go for it. Try it. If you need some help, you can give us a call or give Timur a call.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll help you with it.
A lot of people noticing that they're missing they're also missing the donations. They can go up to $300, and they're not realizing that as well for this coming year.
That's a new thing. If you didn't itemize before, the donations were limited to only folks that itemize, but now you're right. $300 you can get if you didn't itemize. But, you know, I think to the question that Vincente had from the Facebook is, you know, like Carlos said, always get it. But the question is, get it again. If you got it, don't try to get it again, because what's going to happen is what Carlos said earlier, is the IRS is going to look at it. They're going to compare it to their records. If it doesn't match, it looks like you're trying to get it again, they're going to have to make an adjustment to that return. And that adjustment is going to not make for a fast, speedy refund. That's for sure.
All you're going to do is slow it down.
Mm-hmm. It's like double dipping your chip in the salsa too many times. You get it's not a good thing to do this time of the pandemic, huh?
or actually anytime, because the IRS does, compute everything through their computers. Even if you mail it in, someone's going to get that return and key it in manually. And that's one of the filters that they use to check for fraud and bad actors.
Hey, Carlos, I know you and Tina are always creating new education, right? You're probably writing the tax preparer education for next year. Are there some big new things? Is this CARES Act, the PPP, the Recovery Rebate? I mean, EIP 3 is coming. The Congress says they want to give another $1,400 out to everybody.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
the hot topic for education this year? What's the new? What's going to happen?
Well, whenever you prepare training, especially in this field, you have to prepare it on last year's taxes. So yeah, it's true. We are preparing the manuscripts for this year. That's a good point, Timur. And yeah, a lot of changes. And so, and a lot of changes coming up. We have a new administration. He's doing executive orders left and right. Then he's proposing a lot of things he wants Congress to do, since it's a Democratic Congress. But the problem is, we've had this before where everybody's the same party and nothing happens because they can't agree on anything anyway. So I would say what's coming up new would be a lot of these, like the stimulus payments 1 and 2, how to do those. The look back period for the earned income tax credit is a big one. Then the extenders got extended. Some were extended permanently. Some were extended for a certain amount of time. So we'll have to write all those in there. And yeah, that's a good question, Timur.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and then another usual hot question is an 18-year-old student or an 18-year-old student with a part-time job, can he claim the stimulus if the parents didn't get it?
Well, this sounds like a question from the final exam on the Latino Tax Pro education, continuing education program. So 18-year-old not claimed by the parents?
Yeah, not claimed if the parents didn't claim them. Part-time job, 18 years old. Can he claim the stimulus or EIP 1 and EIP 2?
I mean, I think that if the IRS didn't pay it to his parents, then he could file for the Recovery Rebate Credit. But I think they're gonna not let him take it if he got it, if his parents got it because it was on his 2019 or 2018 tax return.
Yeah, well,
So
they're not going to
challenges,
get.
right?
Yeah, they're not going to get it because they're 17 or older. So they have to qualify for a child tax credit. So the answer would be yes, he would qualify for that Recovery Rebate Credit for $1,800. Once they get that, they have to understand that they cannot be claimed by their parents. If their parents file them with them as a dependent, then they lose all. They have to pay that money back. So there have been situations to where there have been kids that have been working more, and it'd probably be better for them to claim themselves so they can get that $1,800 as a stimulus credit instead of being a $500 deduction on the federal side on their personal tax return. So those have been some situations to where it benefits the dependent more to be independent, but then parents got to remember they have to charge their children rents. So you got to make sure that you charge them rent to get that get that money back to the parents.
Yeah, and then with that same scenario, Josue, I know there's another question here with the Recovery Rebate Credit. An 18-year-old with no income, can they claim that EIP 1 and 2 if they didn't get it?
Yeah, so I have some people that haven't filed before last year and they didn't receive anything, and they're going to want to file this year. They're wondering why everybody else is getting it. It's because they're either had Social Security and they're on record, or they filed a return for last year. So what they need to do is file a return for the current tax year, and then just qualify for that stimulus rebate credit.
Awesome, thank you. Then
The
we
bottom line, you need to file a tax return, huh?
Yeah, yeah, you have to be in the system.
I tell you, I can't tell you how many requests we've had for prior year return filings. So many people, I didn't know how many people just didn't file taxes, but there seem to be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have another scenario here that somebody posted on Facebook is, here's an example. Mother claimed dependents on 2019 and they got the EIPs, the economic impact payments. Now father wants to claim the same dependent on the 2020 return. Different taxpayer, same dependent. So will the EIP, economic impact payment, be issued again for the same dependent? And I think we kind of answered this one, but Jose, do you want to answer this one?
You know what? It's only the impact payment is for the 2020 tax year. So if the parent that is claiming the child for the 2020 tax year didn't receive it, then I would probably try to do it. I mean, it's for that 2020 tax year. So if they haven't received it for that 2020 tax year, you can do it, but it may end up having to jeopardize the other parent to pay it back. So.
Well, they've said the other parent wouldn't need to pay it back.
Yeah, yeah.
But they also
I
have.
wouldn't hurt to try. Yeah, this is all new experience to everybody, so I'd probably put it in.
And then since we're on the EIP anyways,
But yeah, in the situation to that, I'd probably claim it, get the refund for that parent, and there's no spot on the return for them to pay the economic impact payment back for the other parent. So I don't see it being a issue on it. Yeah.
And then we have a comment on Facebook, no double dipping.
I know, right? But they're very vague on that rule. I know. It's.
You know, one of the things, I just went to your website, latinotaxpro.com, and right on the top there is Tax Pro in your pocket. You know, it's interesting. We're getting all these really good questions from Facebook and Instagram or the Zoom here. But one of the biggest tools that we tell our customers at ProTax Pro is when you have questions like this, we're not EAs and CPAs. I mean, you look at the Carlos Lopez picture, you've got Carlos, we got two EAs in the picture. Vincente, you're an EA too?
Not yet. Not yet.
You got to do it. But you have a team of trained experts over there that have the Ask a Tax Pro feature. And so when you have these, I mean, normally I say, if you don't know how to amortize, goodwill, or if you're struggling with your depreciation or something like that, that Ask a Tax Pro is great because they can walk you through how that works. But this year we've got so much stuff affecting so many people. A VIP membership, a Latino tax professional can really carry you a long way and give you help and answers to these specific questions, because you have folks like Carlos and Josue right there that are answering the phones and giving real answers to real questions. And again, this year, it's not the complicated, installment sales or 1031 exchange questions. It's actual questions that are affecting everybody every day. So if you're not already a VIP member of Latino Tax Pro, you should really consider it and the value it gives you from the continuing education and this Ask a Tax Pro thing, which I think is the best.
Thank you, Timur.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And also too, we're in a close partnership with ProTax Pro. So what we do is, if you buy one of our memberships, ProTax Pro will give you up to 50 tax returns free on their professional tax software, so you can try it out, and you'll find out it's easy to use. It's online, so you don't have to worry about updates, and they've got a great support staff, and they're really good.
Thanks, Carlos.
Sure.
Yeah, also reaching out to Rachel, who's actually watching us live through through Zoom. So, hi, Rachel. Quick hi. And yeah,
I can see her waving back from the other office.
from the other office. Yeah, thank you. And then, just circling back around to the EIP, what are your thoughts on the potential third EIP? Timur, would you care to start off with that?
I mean, I think that our President Biden said that a vote for a Democrat was a vote for a third EIP. And so I think they have a real challenge in front of them that they need to follow through on that promise to the Americans. I mean, whether or not you think it's the right thing to do, I think you've got a Democrat House, a Democrat Senate, and a Democrat president, kind of all who made that commitment back in December or January timeframe. So I think that, if they don't follow through, it's going to be egg on their face. So I think they will follow through. When, I don't know. Obviously, people need help now, but probably soon.
I am going to say a couple of things that are going to sound political right now. We need to get our people back to work. Handing out these stimulus payments are wonderful. It's a nice shot in the arm. And then we'll get the vaccine, hopefully, sooner or later, another shot in the arm. But I really believe that, like during the Great Depression in 1929, what the president did was he started all these projects to rebuild the highways, rebuild bridges, rebuild the infrastructure of America. And I think that that's what our country needs right now, is to rebuild the infrastructure, use the money to put people to work. We don't want 30 million Americans without work getting money from the government. That is not a sustainable long-term solution. So, and a lot of people are looking for new professions. Our business has increased. People want to control their own destiny. So they want to learn how to prepare tax returns, learn to become a trusted advisor, learn bookkeeping, learn QuickBooks. And I think the government, I mean, it's great. Trust me, I think the helping hand is what we need, but we need another sustainable long-term solution where we can put people back to work. And that's, to me, is going to help this country recover a lot quicker.
I couldn't agree more, Carlos. People feel better when they work. People have, I mean, obviously there's times when people need help, and as a society, we should help our people through our government, our churches, and whatever community groups we have. But, I think giving people the opportunity to work and produce and feel good. I don't know about you. I feel good when I do work, and my work is nice work. And I think we saw in Texas, we saw, all these things, an opportunity for us to help our fellow Americans by doing work and fixing some broken things and being productive. So I agree with you, Carlos.
Yeah, thanks. Human beings were designed to be workers. So it's in our DNA. It's in our genetic makeup. And we don't want to get into the same thing like they did in the Arab Spring of 2010, where you have all these young people that aren't working. And, that's why we have so much disruption. We have, we've had all these problems in the past year or so. And it's just people are frustrated and need something to do. So this is a call out for our politicians. We've got a lot of people watching, so I hope the idea gets across. And if you can also help out by letting your congressperson, your senator, your local leaders to get people back to work. That's what we need.
Thank you for that, Timur and Mr. Lopez. So any other comments, Josue? Any advice for our tax pros watching out here through Facebook? The do's and don'ts.
You know what? There are if you have a lot of self-employed individuals or business owners, that form, that 7202, if they are affected by COVID, or not even them, a family member affected by COVID, is a really powerful form that they can use, and that's that sick pay or family pay. It's been helping a lot of clients out for some credits on that one, but that federal tax form, the 7202, is really helpful for some clients. So if I were as a tax professional, I'd get more familiar with that form for Schedule C clients, and letting them know the proof that they'll need if they were sick, or even a family member was sick and they had to stay home for that family member to help them out.
That's a good
they
one.
can get some credits on that one.
And the 8615E too, for anybody that took a retirement distribution.
Or yeah, the retirement, even though that one's not ready for our software, but yeah, that is a powerful one as well.
Yeah, it's a tricky form because, you know, the IRS, the way software has to send it is we have to generate a PDF. Normally when we send the returns to the IRS, we send it in XML, so the IRS computers can just read it. Our systems generate it, and they talk. So you're not actually sending the paper forms to the IRS electronically, you're sending an electronic return. Well, the 8615 and the 7202, the IRS didn't develop that XML. So we're taking a PDF and like pushing it into that e-file and sending it across. The 7202, they made it so you can send a equivalent of the paper electronically, but the 8615, you still have to send the PDF. And so I think it's been a challenge. It's going to be a challenge because the only way for the IRS to see the information is to pull up the form and have a agent look at it, like Carlos was talking about before with you file the wrong recovery rebate credit. So, you know, those two forms, the 7202 and 8615E, hopefully the IRS in the future doesn't do this because it slows down processing, it slows down preparation, but that 8615E is a big deal because anybody that got a retirement distribution can pay that tax over 3 years or pay it back if they need to.
Yeah, it's nice because you can pay it back without any penalties or interest, because that's the idea is, you know, take that money out now, and then because, you know, it's a 10% penalty on the federal, and some states like California have a 2.5% penalty. So you can avoid that 12.5% penalty and pay it back over 3 years. And it's a good deal, I think, if you have the money sitting in a pension fund. However, I discourage my clients from using their pension money because the idea is to have it available when you're not working or if you can't work. So, yeah, I think another thing I want to say too is I think the IRS has done a good job moving quickly with a lot of these things. I mean, getting that the EIP, the stimulus payment out so quickly and moving as fast as they have. Even though that we've had this pandemic to deal with, they've done pretty good. So my hat's off to them.
They have done a really good job, honestly. I mean, who would have known that on February 27th, they have to send out another whole set of checks to taxpayers, you know, on Christmas Eve, basically. They worked through the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, getting all those things out to our taxpayers. So the public servants at the IRS are great folks.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Timur and Mr. Lopez, and Josue as well. Thank you for that information. And we have one final question that'll basically tie up to July. Have we secured the best for this year? I need my CE hours. You want to answer that, Mr.
Best is going to be.
That's the question of the year, man. Well, here's the thing. You know, all of our conferences, as any other conference, you need to sign a contract. I'm probably going to say more than I need to, but we didn't know this pandemic was going to hit us like this. And myself, I thought it was going to be over a lot quicker than what it is. It's still, you know, the vaccines are coming out so slowly, you know, the way the government was talking about it, it seemed like there would be nurses walking outside, just giving people shots as they came by. but apparently it's not that way. So, you know, there's a lot of restrictions. The health department is coming in, making sure that we're social distance, make sure we're all wearing masks. And we want to have a live fest. So we've postponed it. We're gonna still have the virtual fest. Oh yeah, that's on for sure. And I believe we're having that in September 27th through the 29th.
For the 30th.
Through the 30th. So that's for sure. And we've got a great partner, Six Connects. It's going to have a great lobby. Everything's going to be just really nice. I hate to say this, but I'm going to. We might have a live one in December. So keep your fingers crossed and let's see what happens. We're waiting this week to get an answer from the convention center, MGM.
Well,
And
So after you call your congressman, should we call the MGM and say, make it happen for a Latino tax pro?
called the CDC.
Hey, while you're throwing out dates, Carlos,
Uh-oh.
when's the tax filing due date gonna be? It's already June 15th in Texas.
In Texas, it's June 15th.
And what do they say? If it's good for Texas, good enough for Texas, it's good enough for America? Is that what they're saying?
That's, Timur, you and I belong to a couple of really exclusive groups that we meet with the IRS. I think we should bring that up. What do you think?
I mean, I think that having a big country, I lived in Texas for 4 years, and every day they remind you that they're a republic and they can secede anytime they want. So, if we have a big state like Texas with so many people and so much diversity there, when you extend that deadline, and I realized they had that terrible disaster. I have so many friends that were there, and
Yeah.
their businesses suffered. One of my friends owns doggy daycare, and she was driving around in the middle of the night, sliding across the road trying to save the dogs from freezing in her doggy daycares. But a lot of things out there happening, and I feel for them. But there's this pandemic is still a national disaster, and I think that it's still causing a lot of people a lot of pain and discomfort. And so I think that I think the Ways and Means Committee met last week, and there was some talking of the interest the Congress might have in extending the tax season this year, just to give people more time.
Yeah, can you imagine the logistical nightmare of having returns coming in and being able to identify who's from Texas? How are you going to do that? I mean, I know you can go by zip codes, right?
You
But what if
stamp the
you
Texas flag on every tax return that goes in. Yeah, no, it's zip codes. It's and then the other thing too is, maybe you live in Texas, but you moved,
Yeah.
right? And maybe some of your records were destroyed as part of the cold or a water pipe burst. It's a Texas stamp them. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, David lived there also 3 years in Texas. So
Yeah. We have a comment of, will tax season be extended? That's the $1 million question right now.
Well, if you're in Texas, it is.
It is. It's Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As of now, Texas, yes. And then everybody's saying we go big in Texas. Texas is always big. And somebody else commented, Texas stamped the returns.
They say don't mess with Texas, but you can mess with the tax deadline, I suppose, huh?
we had a friend, we had a meeting this morning, and one of our friends is from San Antonio, Texas. He's lived there his whole life. He never, ever thought in his life he would see snow in San Antonio. Yeah. Almost a foot of snow. Can you believe that? What's this? No, there's no such thing as climate change, is there?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
It is interesting, that's for sure. When I lived in Austin, I could never imagine this snow like that or cold. So.
All right.
Cool, yeah. Well, Thank you. I think it's a time we start wrapping up as well. I know everybody, thank you everybody for joining us on Facebook. I know it's been busy, taking some time out of your day, your busy days. Thank you everybody. Thank you, Timur, Mr. Lopez, and our surprise guest, Josue Rojas. Thank you for joining us today. Any last comments, questions?
I think after the stimulus checks come out, I think you guys' tax office is going to be super busy, just because a lot of people made more money of the 75,000 per person. They're saying that, oh, if they wait, they should wait because you're not going to get that stimulus check of the $1,400. But once that stimulus check comes out, your tax offices are going to be busy. Wait for that second rush to come in, and it'll probably be in middle of March, right after the stimulus checks come out. So you'll see that one when it's normally slow.
That's a good point, Josue. If you think about marketing and reminding taxpayers that if there's going to be a third stimulus, it's best to have the most accurate information, like your current bank account, like your current address, if they're going to mail you a check. So filing a tax return now is going to ensure that the IRS has the accurate information. Because if you wait to file your tax return after they've sent the stimulus out, it's too late. If you moved and they sent you a check by mistake, that check went to the old address, someone else is cashing your check. If you changed your bank account, or the IRS had your bank account wrong for the EIP2, you should file now, get everything updated, and be ready to go.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that if you request a check to be mailed from the IRS and it gets returned to the IRS for whatever reason, they don't mail it the second time. So you got to make sure you have the right address or go electronic, digital. We always recommend that to our clients.
Or you can try calling.
Yeah, you could try. Yeah. What is it? A 30% answer rate now?
Well, I think the Congress, they're concerned about it. So
yeah,
get it right, get it. And the other thing is, again, we're just dragging this poor call on, but tax preparers are such a key to our communities, right? Because whether it's the earned income tax credit, the child tax credit, and now all these economic impact or stimulus payments, right? Tax preparers are getting information from the IRS. If you've subscribed to Latino Tax Pro, you're getting the updates. I'm sure tax softwares are sending stuff out, IRS sends stuff out. But the way we're able to help our communities, I think, has never been more. Because a lot of tax preparers, they help, a limited English speaking community, right? You might have a Vietnamese population in Los Angeles, or Spanish speakers up in Salinas, or Turkish speakers down here in Ventura, right? And you have preparers that can take their language, map what the IRS and Latino Tax Pro and what all of the information sources are saying, and apply it to those communities. I don't think there's ever been a time that a tax preparer has been so kind of influential throughout the year in helping people, to your point, Carlos, get your maximum refund and take advantage of the benefits the system's providing than we have in the past. So tax preparers, stay educated, stay engaged. We talked last year about how important was the preparers to understand the PPP loans and talk about their business customers. Tax preparers are such a key to helping your constituencies understand what's out there and how to best serve them. Josue talked about the 7202. I mean, just stuff like that preparers should really stay educated and vigilant.
Yeah, stay up to date, and you want to be the leader. You want to be the leader in your community, and you want to be known as the first one to have the right info. All right, guys.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, I want to
Hey,
thank
thanks
you.
for watching, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again next month.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for hosting us, Vincente.
Yeah, no problem. Bye-bye.